Hi, this is a video to show you how to thread a sewing machine, specifically a sewing machine with a front-loading bobbin, which is a bobbin case. Okay, so if your machine has this setup where you have a bobbin and bobbin case, and it goes in the front of your machine rather than on the top of your machine, and most top loaders don't have a case, they will have just the bobbin. But if your machine looks like this and has these two elements, then this is the video for you. Okay, if you have just this part and it goes into the top of the machine, then you need the other video. Okay, have a look, and I've done one specifically on top loading bobbin sewing machines. Okay, so this is the bobbin. It's a little plastic thing, there's sometimes metal as well. There's a little spool and it's going to carry some thread, okay, and it's going to go in the bottom of the machine so that you can sew stitches. Okay, so to start off with, this is the first thing you need to do when you set your machine up, is to fill the bobbin. Okay, so don't go threading your machine and then do the bobbin, you need to do the bobbin first. So what we do is we put the bobbin on the bobbin holder, which is up here. Okay, and then we will need some thread, and we will put that on the thread holder, which is up here. And then we go across, and I'm just going to tilt the machine so you can see there is a little diagram. Now this diagram here is for threading the top thread. This diagram with the dotted line is for threading the bobbin. Okay, so as you can see, it comes across diagonally and it goes round here, and then it goes back on itself, and it'll go back along to here, and then it come round the bobbin from the back going forwards. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. So I'm going to go diagonally, so I'm going to go to the front of that little wheel. This is a little tension wheel, and I'm then going to come across, so you see it's diagonal, so I'm doing exactly what that image is doing, and then I'm going to come across and I'm going to wind round the bobbin a few times. Okay, some instructions I've seen on threading bobbins is that there's a little tiny hole. You see that little hole there, and that you can thread your thread through there and hold it, and then it will thread. That is so fiddly to do. If you are a middle-aged woman like me who has eyesight that's not that great, trying to thread that and then doing the needle as well, you're going to give up wanting to sew before you've even started. So ignore the little hole, just wind it round, like I say, probably half a dozen times. Make sure it's nice and tight. Have a little tail that you can hold just so that it doesn't run away with itself, and then that will be fine. You might need just a few goes of getting this to work, but once you've mastered it, you'll be fine. Okay, so to then wind the bobbin, you need to engage it, so you need to push it over like that, okay, to this stopper. Once the bobbin, if you're winding it to fill the bobbin, once the bobbin's full, this will stop any more thread being wound on, so it'll just stop doing it. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how this works. So you need your machine on. You are going to put pressure on your foot pedal. Oops, and it will then, see how I just had to hold it then for a moment, just to hold it tight, and then it will start loading. Just going to check that that bit of thread there is just the tail. Yes, it is, so that's okay. And there we go. You see, it's just, let's get that in the middle. Okay, so you can keep a general speed. I'm stopping and starting, but just keep going. I don't really want to fill this bobbin up, but if you filled it, when it hit that edge there, it would then stop, basically. Okay, but if you think, that's enough thread, just disengage it. Okay, I don't think you'll be able to get it off like that because the stop will stop it, so you need to disengage it, and then you can take your bobbin off. And then first thing you do before you cut your thread is just check to see that that is nicely tightly packed. Okay, so it's really dense. See where I'm pushing my fingernail in, it's really densely packed. If it was really spongy, then I would recommend rethreading. Okay, it means that the tension's not quite tight enough, and it won't sew properly. So just if it's really solid feeling, then that's great. Okay, and then you can cut your thread and leave a tail. Okay, and then you're going to load your bobbin into the bobbin case. So this is your bobbin case, this is your bobbin. You're going to put it in, you're going to wind it round, and see there's this little gap here. Okay, it's going to go between there. You're then going to push it up this way and sit it in between this bit here. Okay, this is creating tension in the bobbin. Okay, so you've got nothing behind it. Okay, so you've got the bobbin case, bobbin. Put the bobbin in, find that gap, round like that, and that's it. Okay, then you want a tail, but I'm just going to cut that off a bit because it's a little bit too long. Okay, and then what you're going to do, I'm going to tilt the machine so you can see what I'm doing. Gap there at the top. See that gap there at the top? You're going to aim to put the arm of the bobbin case into that gap. Okay, and hear that lovely click? I'm going to do that again. So to get the bobbin out, you use the little handle and you pull it out like that. Okay, I'm going to put it in again. So lining it up with the wiggle it around till you find that gap, and then it clicks in beautifully. Okay, and then you just leave that thread for the moment. So you're going to thread the top of the machine again at diagram. So it's saying that it needs to go around just the back of this piece here. So I'm going to unthread that because that was for the bobbin, and I'm going to hook round here. Okay, and then I know that it's gonna come down here, but have a look here on my machine. It's got a little diagram telling me. Okay, so it's saying hook around the back, then you come across the top, and then you go down, and then you go up, and then you go down, and then you catch through a bit just above the needle, and then you go through the needle. Okay, so this should be a really nice fluid motion when you do this. Okay, so hook it behind there, come down, round that wheel, and then you're going to come up. Now, I've heard people go, "Oh my God, there's nothing there. What am I supposed to hook around? There's nothing there." Okay, there is something there. Using your wheel, which is here at this end of the machine, you can move the wheel with your hand. You only move it towards yourself. Okay, and then as you wind it, so I'm wheeling it towards myself. Can you see this arm appears? Okay, and that moves that arm, which also moves the needle. Okay, so I'm going to hook around the back of there, come down, and then down here there is a little hook above the needle. Okay, it just holds the thread back towards the needle, and then the last step is to thread the needle from front to back. Okay, so with our top thread, we're just going to put it between, there's a little gap in the middle. This is the presser foot, and there's a little gap between the presser foot front there. Okay, and your thread goes through there, and then you're going to hold that with your left hand. Make sure your presser foot is up. Hold that with your left hand, and can you see this is my bottom thread here? So what I'm going to do is, using the wheel on the right hand end of the machine with my right hand, I'm just going to wind the wheel forward, and if you watch, the needle is coming down. As it comes down, if you watch down here, that's the top thread coming across. And once you start seeing it with your left hand, you can start pulling it, and it will pull the top thread up. Sorry, the bottom thread up to the top. Okay, I'm going to do that again. So I'm just going to take out my bobbin. Just going to show you again here. Bobbin case. Put my bobbin in. Find the little gap. Hook it around there. Okay. The arm is going to go to the top. Push it in. Wait for the satisfying click. There it is. Okay. Take the top thread in my left hand. Wind the machine down. Wind the needle down, sorry. When I see the thread come round, you just see it just flicks around there, it's just there. I'm going to then, with my left hand, I'm going to then pull in. It might need a little tug, might need another wiggle with the wheel sometimes, and then it pulls up the bottom thread. And you take both those tails, make sure that they're nice and long, and then you're going to push them through that gap in the presser foot and push them to the back of the machine. Close that up. If you've got a front piece, which you usually have, clip that back on, and then you're ready to sew. Okay, hope that was clear, hope that helped, and see you in the next video. Thank you, bye bye.